Under the tranquil facade of Lake Serenity, a rustic cabin nestled amidst the snow-laden trees awaited the arrival of Sarah and David. The warm glow of the cabin's windows beckoned, promising a haven from the biting cold of winter. It was their 5th anniversary, a milestone that, unbeknownst to Sarah, David saw as an opportunity for a malevolent act. The journey to the secluded house had started with laughter and shared memories, the couple reveling in the snowy charm of the surroundings. As they stepped inside, the creaking door closed behind them, sealing their fate in the quiet cabin. A crackling fire in the hearth cast flickering shadows across the room as David poured them glasses of red wine. The cozy ambience masked the turbulence beneath the surface of their relationship. Sarah, oblivious to the storm brewing in her husband's mind, smiled, raising her glass for a toast. "To us," David said, his smile a mask for the malevolence he harbored. The clink of their glasses resonated through the cabin, a hollow echo of the deception that lay ahead. Dinner followed a carefully orchestrated performance by David. The taste of the food seemed to be lost on Sarah as her thoughts drifted into the abyss of her own reflections. Unbeknownst to her, David watched, his gaze filled with a sinister anticipation. As the night progressed, the cozy cabin transformed into a theater of hidden motives and unspoken truths. Sarah, caught in the illusion of celebration, remained oblivious to the shadows closing in around her. David, biding his time, stoked the fire of his sinister plan. Underneath the veneer of marital bliss, a subtle tension grew, manifested in stolen glances and carefully chosen words. The crackling fire, once a symbol of warmth, now danced in time with the discordant rhythm of their unraveling relationship. The turning point came when David suggested a moonlit stroll along the frozen lake, a seemingly innocent gesture concealing a malevolent intent. The snowy landscape, bathed in the silver glow of the moon, served as the backdrop for the unfolding tragedy. The frozen expanse of Lake Serenity stretched before them as Sarah and David ventured onto the icy landscape. The moon, a cold and distant witness, cast their elongated shadows on a pristine snow. The air hung heavy with unspoken tension, a palpable discomfort that mirrored the cracks in their deteriorating relationship. As they walked, the crunching of snow underfoot seemed to amplify the silence between them. Sarah's breath formed visible clouds in the frigid air, a stark contrast to the warmth that once characterized their relationship. The moonlit stroll, initially intended as a shared moment of reflection, now became a battleground for the unraveling of long-suppressed grievances. The first words of their argument were hesitant, carried by a biting wind that swept across the frozen lake. But soon, the dam of restraint burst, and accusations flew like winter gusts. David, tired of being the perpetual victim, found his voice against the backdrop of the desolate landscape. "You never sighed, did you?" he exclaimed, his frustration carving through the cold air. "Your games, your manipulations. I've been living in your twisted reality for years. The revelation hung in the air, a bitter truth that Sarah had long kept buried beneath layers of denial. As the argument intensified, the cold night air seemed to stoke the flames of their verbal battle. The accusations, once confined to whispers, now echoed across the frozen expanse. In the midst of the heated exchange, David's frustration reached a breaking point. He reached into his pocket, revealing a gleaming knife, an instrument of desperation born from years of silent suffering. The moonlight reflected off the blade as he lunged at Sarah, his face contorted by a mixture of rage and pain. The struggle was raw and chaotic, devoid of metaphor or poetic abstraction. Sarah fought desperately for her life, her hands grasping for anything that could be used as a makeshift defense. The crunch of snow beneath their frenzied movements punctuated the intensity of the moment. In a desperate bid to escape the threatening blade, Sarah fumbled for the small revolver tucked into her coat. The metallic clink of the firearm echoed in the cold night air. Panic gripped them both as the struggle continued, the frozen lake bearing witness to a visceral fight for survival. As the gunshot echoed across the frozen expanse, David staggered back, his eyes wide with shock. Sarah, her hands still trembling from the violent struggle, stared at the revolver in horror. The metallic taste of adrenaline lingered in the air as the reality of what she had done sank in. In the chilling aftermath, a profound silence settled over Lake Serenity. The moon, a cold witness, cast an unforgiving light on the tableau of tragedy. David's lifeless form lay on the snow, a testament to the violent end of their tumultuous relationship. Yet, as Sarah stood there, a searing pain radiated from her abdomen. Her gaze fell to the crimson stain spreading across her coat, a stark realization that she, too, had not escaped the dance of violence unscathed. The stab wound, a cruel twist of fate, mirrored the wounds inflicted upon their marriage. The moonlight painted a haunting scene, two figures lying side by side on the frozen lake, their struggles silenced by the cold stillness of death. Sarah's strength waned, the cold seeping into her limbs as life ebbed away. A sense of irony hung in the air, the aggressor and the victim entwined in the final moments of their shared madness. The frozen lake, scarred by the violence that unfolded upon it, bore witness to the tragic conclusion of a night that had begun with the intent of celebration. As Sarah's vision blurred and the cold embraced her, the desolate landscape seemed to absorb your final breaths. The moon, indifferent to their fates, continued its silent vigil over Lake Serenity. The echoes of their argument faded into the winter wind, leaving behind only the stillness of death. Have you ever felt love so strong you got scared of it? Let us know in the comments and leave a like and subscribe. Thank you.